Last year I joked that, for want of a better idea, I would simply read a speech from my favorite book and be done with it. Since then, I have not had a better idea. This is a bad time to pronounce the word love. Well, it is. I feel more done than love about this place, and I should be up here with words about lessons and goals. But I would rather talk about love and interconnection and the only logical action that follows. And you, my supposedly captive audience, are not really as captive as you think. You can listen, or not. Think about trees. Trees are important. You couldn't breathe without trees. I have certainly cried over clear cuts. But love, if I ever stopped talking about it, and I don't believe I did. I'll pass the microphone to Louise Michel, leader of the Paris Commune. She said, "Above everything else, I am taken by the revolution. It had to be that way." And I was 15 years old, feeling numbness and walls, when Rachel Maddow announced the Egyptian revolution on the 8 p.m. news, and I sat down and cried joy and hope, because people can fight oppression and win. But how selfish is it to take an event that changed millions of lives and make it about my own personal inspiration? On last year's service trip to Nicaragua, they told me, "It's not about you." And that is what saved me from isolation and numbness, the knowledge that the entirety of everything is greater than these walls, that there are 1,000 freedom fights burning around the world while I speak. School shouldn't teach us to sit still anyway. There are protests in parks and marches in the streets, and truth being spoken to power. And there is also state repression and poverty and clear-cuts, and the world is awful and on fire and beautiful. I'm quoting again. Welcome to Night Vale this time. Of course, your lives, your struggles and joys matter. Immensity does not render smallness insignificant. And smallness is never our lament anyway. It's isolation. Isolation that creates loneliness, powerlessness, numbness. But isolation? I'll get there. I study history, and I've learned to trace the threads that run through it. In AP US history, we discussed some conflicts between individuals and communities. But around March, I said forget it, because I saw a different thread there. Individuals need strong, healthy communities to flourish. Could you thrive in isolation? I do not believe you could. There is nothing wrong with you if this, within these walls, is not your true community, because it does not have to be. There is an entire world beyond it. You are breathing trees and drinking clouds, and if you're doing it right, you're feeling the pain of a homeless family or a poison chemical in the water supply and the joy of a revolution thousands of lives away. The isolation, the separation, that is the fiction. The interconnection is the reality. Finally, the logical action. If it's not about you, who, then, is it about? I've found a better thread of history, and it belongs to those in every time and place who strive for the best community and world. Locally or globally, it makes no difference, for if we are all interconnected, so is each struggle and victory. Those who fight to end oppression and injustice, for the dignity of every human being, for the protection of the earth and all that depends upon it. Why do we do it? If we're doing it right, beneath all other motivation is... I should finish that speech. This is a bad time to pronounce the word love. No matter. I pronounce it and I glorify it. Love, yours is the future. Citizens, in the future there shall be neither darkness nor thunderbolts, neither ferocious ignorance nor blood for blood. In the future no man will slay his fellow, the earth will be radiant, the human race will love. It will come, that day, when all will be concord, harmony, light, joy, and life. It will come. And then he speaks of dying for it, but first, let's live for it. Will you? I know I was instructed not to rattle off a long list of thank yous, but I was also instructed to sit still. So I would like to thank the stone arches of Moab, Utah, Occupy Wall Street, too, and of course the Egyptian Revolution. Thank you, trees and stars and thunderstorms, and probably socialism as well. Thank you, Victor Hugo and Louise Michel and Emma Goldman, and some fictional people, too. Thank you, family and friends, and all of you who listened to me, or didn't, or thought about trees instead.